the paramedics spoke to her, and then she walked up to me, and then she told me I had a stroke. Wow. I was shocked. I'm too young to have a stroke.
And too healthy.
Yeah.
For those that, can I just tell you guys, this woman goes from being vegan, raw diet, super healthy.
Yeah.
She is my soul sister because she'll tell me about meditating, and on New Year's Eve she'll say, I'm going to be alone with God. This is the last person I would have expected.
Yeah.
No stressful lifestyle from the outside. So when they said you had a stroke,
I was shocked. Not me.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.
See, I'm so excited that I'm like, she's in the building. Before we say the upside of failure, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even going to speak about her award-winning CV. Just Lira. Thank you. Os Lerato. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on 702 Afternoons.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to sensitize everybody for those that
Yes.
don't know.
Yes.
So you suffered a stroke, and because of that, and we will chat a little bit about it, you had to relearn to speak, which means now you have a speech impediment. And for many, this is the first time they will actually be hearing you speak.
Yes.
Some people were like, the reference of a stroke is their uncle who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Other people, their reference of, but that person's back to normal. Why for her is it like this? We are going to be patient and kind and absolutely loving and supportive in this space. I know all of the listeners are feeling that way. Get your questions in, and let's start at, how are you today?
I'm very excited because I can speak.
Yes.
And I'm here to share my story, and I can speak well.
I was just saying, since your birthday that we were together at, was it like 3 months ago?
March. Yeah.
You gave your first speech at
Yes.
your birthday party, which I was in attendance of. Lira happens to be my neighbor and a dear friend. And I already was like, you sound significantly better than how you did back then.
Yeah. I get surprised with how much progress I'm making. And today is a good day.
So, in terms of deciding to come now, why now to speak and share your story on such a public platform?
Yeah. Because people have been asking me to share my story, and I wasn't ready because I couldn't talk.
Yes.
I wasn't ready to speak in a conversation. But now I'm ready, and my speech impediment doesn't bother me. It did before, but it doesn't bother me. I'm here to share my story, and
So I want to share with the listeners, without getting too emotional, that for some reason, like, you hadn't replied a message of mine on WhatsApp. And then I was like, how, babes, what's happening,
Yeah.
And then you just said, sorry, I had a stroke. And I was like, how? She's just saying it like this. And it was only much later that I understood why you said it the way you did.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole build-up, was because you were limited.
Yes.
And it was only, seeing parts of your recovery journey that now I understand in hindsight. Because I was like, you were saying it so blasé, I'm fine. Then the news broke.
Yeah.
And then when I was like, okay, I need to come see you.
Yeah.
And obviously I was sobbing.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I absolutely love you dearly,
Yeah.
and I'm so happy you have your life.
Yes.
But just in terms of where you were, was 3-letter words. And now that my son is in early childhood development, I was able to... Ooh. Sorry, I don't mean to cry.
Yeah.
But when you have to really think, like, that's years of learning, of
Yes.
increasing a vocabulary. So maybe share with us from your perspective, because I'm just a side person who
Yeah.
saw bits and bits and cried along the way and prayed for my friend and told myself when she's ready to share her journey, she will. Because I've sat in meetings where people are like, but Lira, can you just, I'm like, no, guys, she'll tell me when she's ready. Share with us what happened, where you were, and how you got to being back home now, starting the recovery journey.
I was in Frankfurt, Germany, and I was excited about being there. It had been 3 years since I traveled overseas, and I was looking forward to being there. And I traveled, I was there on tour, and I left 2 days before the show. And I started
And
Yes,
this is part of
yes,
it.
yes.
So part of it is you can hear you know the word in your head. It's like the
Yes.
word is on your tongue, but it doesn't come out.
yes.
So is it helpful when people give you word options, or is it helpful when people pause and let you find the word?
It's helpful when I find the words.
Okay.
But because of the interview, please interject.
Okay.
I started walking around,
Yes.
and I wanted to take in the sights, the scenes. And I had a stroke at about 4:30 p.m.
And you were alone at the time.
Yes, I love traveling alone. It's not an issue for me. And I had a stroke, and I was alone, and the sensation lasted about 15 minutes. It wasn't pain. It was an uncomfortable feeling in my head. And it lasted 15 minutes, and I walked into a restaurant, and I wanted to ask them where my hotel was. I wasn't lost, but I'd been walking around. The hotel was nearby, and I started. I intended to ask them, and my voice didn't come out. And they kept me, they offered me a seat and offered me a cold drink. And I sat down and I tried to speak. And I had no idea what was happening. And yeah, after a while,
So after a while,
Yes.
you started to make your way, and you eventually recognized where you're going to be performing.
yes. Okay, I got to my hotel that way, and I called my partner, and I called him on WhatsApp, and I couldn't read, and I was having a bad nightmare, and I can't read, and I can't write, and I can't speak. And I called my partner, and he didn't know what was going on, but nobody could something was wrong with me because I was normal.
As in physically,
Yes.
you looked fine.
Yes.
So in their minds, they couldn't understand why is this person not talking.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, and I've never asked you this before, in your not talking, I heard from your manager and good friend Lisa, were you making sounds? Were there any sounds that came out? Because on her conversation with you, what made her know something was wrong is that she just heard,
Yeah. I don't think I made sounds to alert people that something was wrong. I was pretty calm. I was pretty calm and collected. And fast forward the next day.
I know, I still can't get over this. So for everybody to bring everybody into the story was that there was a time where you went up to your hotel room.
Yeah.
You still didn't know what was going on,
Yeah.
but it was not high panic alert. And then at some point, you can't really read. You're not sure what's happening, to the point that the next day you're even like going to breakfast and like you still can't talk and tell everybody what happened.
I began to panic when I woke up in the morning and I had no voice. The Wi-Fi had kicked me out of the phone and I was alone. Yeah. And Lisa, bless her heart, called me and she let me know that someone was going to come to my room. The previous day, I called my partner and he let Lisa know that I was in trouble, And, then Lisa let me know that someone was going to come to my room. And when they walked in, I just cried. I cried. Lisa told me the German promoter was going to come to the hotel. And then he was the one who called the ambulance. And I walked myself to the ambulance, but I was normal, And
at this point, Lisa had already recognized this is a medical emergency.
Yes.
She could hear and she already said, you're having a stroke, you're having a stroke.
I didn't pick that up. I didn't pick that up. I was not sure of what was going on. And the paramedics didn't speak a word of English.
Wes, you can't speak, they can't speak English, you can't read and you can't write. So
Yes.
somebody's wondering, why didn't you write on a paper? You couldn't even do so that ability. You couldn't even write help and hold it up. And you being kicked out the Wi-Fi means you couldn't log back in.
Yes.
And thank goodness somebody back home in South Africa said there's a problem. Send people to your room, which when they first went to your room, they were like, what do you mean? Everything is fine.
But I cried to give them an alert that I wasn't okay.
Because physically you look fine.
I
And
was
like-
walking just like I am now. Yeah.
So when now you are in the ambulance, I want to touch on what was happening in your mind. Was your mind in the place where there's conversation happening, or was your mind in a place of you're just dealing with whatever actions you had to do
Yes.
at the time?
Yes.
Because we have a tendency to like have constant conversations in our head.
All that was prevalent in my mind was the next action. And I didn't want to go to hospital because nothing was wrong with me.
And you had a gig, girl.
But I had it.
You had a gig you were
Yeah.
excited for.
And I wanted to know that I could go to hospital, then get back to my rehearsal. And the hospital was 15 minutes from the hotel, and a nurse walked up to me. Then the paramedics spoke to her, and then she walked up to me, and then she told me I had a stroke. Wow. I was shocked. I'm too young to have a stroke.
And too healthy.
Yeah.
For those that, can I just tell
Yeah.
you guys, this woman goes from being vegan, raw diet, super healthy.
Yeah.
She is my soul sister because she'll tell me about meditating, and on New Year's Eve she'll say, I'm going to be alone with God. This is the last person I would have expected.
Yeah.
No stressful lifestyle from the outside. So when they said you had a stroke,
I was shocked. Not me. And I cried. I cried because how was I going to tell my parents? I left alone. I went into the ambulance alone. So I was alone. And I cried all day because I was nervous about the band. I was with a Swedish band.
Yes.
They had featured me, and I was worried about the audience. I wasn't worried about myself, but I worried about other people that I had to tell. And I cried all day going through this. And the doctors told me that I could regain my speech.
so did they explain
Yeah.
and say, because you've had a stroke, this is what is happening to you. This is what could still happen to
Yes.
you. Because for many people who have a stroke, you are more susceptible to get another one.
Yes, yeah.
What did they share with you? And I'm assuming this is like shock after shock after shock after. Because it wasn't like in your mind, you're like, okay, I get it, quickly fix it. I need to go to my rehearsal.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sharp, what's the pill? Like, give me the injection.
Yeah, I thought about that. Can't they fix me before my gig tomorrow night? And they didn't give me such good news. And
And I think what's probably worse, the Germans are not exactly like, especially if English is their second language, the message probably came very cold. It wasn't somebody saying, oh, Lerato, so bona ne? When a person, it was just facts.
yes, but they were kind to me. Yeah. And I had a whole bunch of doctors investigating my case. And they told me that because I've had a stroke and that the language center is damaged, I can relearn how to speak and read and write. But it's going to take time. And I thought, time? I don't have that time. I've got to be on stage tomorrow. And I cried. And the doctors gave me assurance that I could learn to speak. But I was alone the first day I got to hospital, because the following day, my partner Trevor, and he came and gave me such relief. And there was a familiar face. And I knew everything was going to be okay, because Trevor could communicate with my parents. And yeah.
Oh, I think we're going to take a little break to go to the news. And there are so many, parts to the story, which I will tell everybody. You can book her to speak at your event. We're not going to have the time to go through all of the little details, but we will take your calls with your questions, and maybe you've suffered a stroke.
Yes.
You can share with us what journey you have experienced and what you've learned. Continuing with Lira on the upside of failure, she's been sharing her journey having suffered a stroke, and we are going to do a lot of fast forwarding in the story. So, Oslerato, you at some point eventually got brought back home after being in the hospital in Germany, and you're fortunate enough to have the support of your partner, so he was able to communicate. You walked yourself go airport like just a person, and then flew home and were treated in Johannesburg. At what point in this whole process did you understand the gravity of what had happened to you? Because I don't think it digests immediately.
Yeah.
Like, when is it where you're like, oh, this is real?
Yeah.
We need to sit and make have serious, in inverted commas, conversations about what to happen.
Yeah. I didn't really understand, as you so rightly said. I thought I'd be without a voice for 2 months, 3 months, and then I could talk. And it became longer than that. On the first morning, I woke up in hospital. When I went to hospital, and then the morning after, I accepted my situation because there was nothing for me to do. And I felt calm, peace wash over me as I did that. And the calm and peace has been with me ever since. And Trevor being there for 2 weeks made me, there was a familiar face. And the Germans gave me speech therapy.
I hope not in German, because
But I knew that it would be hard. I had to say each word, e. I was struggling to say e, I, o, u, I. And I had to learn the alphabet to put words together. And I had to learn as a child.
And this is to remind everybody, it's not just the sounding, it's also the reading. So when you learn you have to get familiarized with which is the letter, so it's literally from scratch.
Yes. And I was aware when I did speech therapy that it would be hard. But once I mastered the words, I could put them together. And I messaged you, and I had a stroke because I couldn't find elaborate words. I used to text emojis.
Yes.
Because I couldn't find the words. And if people would send me long messages,
too much for your brain.
And right now I can. I can. But I'm still in recovery, but I can communicate now.
How long has it been since the stroke?
14 months.
14 months.
Yeah.
And the journey continues. Now, there was a point in your recovery, and for all to know, that literally is all you do. with your day and rest.
Yeah.
And rest because you can't just randomly go to a mall want to buy bread because you can't communicate.
Yeah.
You depend on your family. Mama's also here.
Yeah.
There's been a great support along with your circle of girlfriends and Trevor. But in that time, did it ever get exhausting? Like, it's like people who, for example, have to learn to walk again. They get fed up with the physio. It's hard, and then they're like, what's the point of trying?
I took a break from attending speech therapy because I just didn't see improvement. When I was speaking to normal people, I'd see a faster pace. And I knew what to do in terms of speech therapy, and I needed to practice. And I took a break from that, but I practice. And I put myself in positions where I'd have to speak. And I gestured a little bit when I couldn't find the words. And I went to the mall and greeted people. Greetings were simple for me, but it's when they asked me, how are you? Whoa.
Thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yeah. And I was happy with my progress. And I was happy that I could speak. Yeah.
I remember you saying to me the one day, I can say my name. And I was like, whoa, the next one is my name. Because at one point when I saw you, we were on 3-letter words.
Yeah.
And I think I understood what had happened, but the realization that like, oh my gosh, this is how, okay, I'm going to be hopeful that but this feels like something that took us 7 years to do in real life.
Yeah.
We're going to pray, we're going to,
Yeah.
But that day you say, I can say, what did that mean for you being able to say Lerato?
Oh, it was wonderful because I could say Lira, but I couldn't say Lerato because the language is a bit different. And one small milestone was what I celebrated.
In terms of when your speech is affected, ho etsagalang ka mantswe a Setswana, a seZulu, and maybe help everybody understand if you are multilingual, your speech therapy was in English.
Yeah.
What did that mean for the other languages?
Okay, my language center is damaged. Yeah. And because my English was the language I received my speech therapy in, I became proficient in speaking English. Zulu and Sotho, I can hear, but it's tougher for me to say each word. With English, I could learn how to say each word. And I used to, the speech therapies used to phonetically give me instruction how to say the words. But with Zulu, with Xhosa.
And I think what's interesting, people don't know, R is the last letter that children learn to say. It's one of the last syllables, letters, R. So even if I say, can you say Relebogile? I know it's easier for you to say Lebo.
Yes. And I have to practice Zulu and Sotho because I don't know of any speech therapies that are in Sotho or Zulu. I can hear everything, but it's harder for me to say.
And I'm sure people are wondering about that. But we want to hear from all of the listeners. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 7021 702. Before we go to the lines, and I see your questions coming through, this is, after all, the upside of failure. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the things that you've asked me, that you've shared with us around your failures, and I'm just going to read it, and then you say what. I'm not even going to ask you a question.
Okay.
I failed the very first Idols.
Yes. I was signed to 999.
Yes.
So I didn't not want to be there. And
As a judge. Oh, to enter.
yes.
Oh.
In 2002. Yeah. I didn't want to be there. Arthur had told me, go try your luck. And I didn't want to be in it. And I failed. But I learned that failure in that
Competition.
competition.
There we go. Yes.
I had some other plan.
Yes. It was meant to be that way.
Yes.
Because you wouldn't be the Lira we know today
Yes.
had you gone through.
Yes.
Was it Gareth who gave you a no? Or Randall?
No, it was
The pre-auditions.
Yes.
So you didn't even...
yes.
The pre-auditions. Okay, it was meant to be. The next one. The failure of my marriage.
Yes. I outgrew my marriage. It wasn't an environment that I could have grown in. Yeah? And I had to end it.
And I think you say it in such an honest place, from such an honest place. Many people will be like, this person didn't. You had outgrown. And do you still see that as a failure?
No.
Okay. Beautiful. The last one, the failure of making it overseas when I had a stroke.
Yeah. I'm still dealing with that because I'm older now. And my dream of winning a Grammy has been placed on hold. But God did not deny it, but it's been placed on hold.
It's not rejection, it's redirection.
Yes. yeah.
All right. So when we come back, we will ask the big question whether she can still sing, and we take all of your calls. 8 minutes to 3 o'clock. We're going to do our best to take all of your calls. 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. We are with Lira. She has been sharing her journey and her recovery, and we're going to take your calls. Yes or no? Can you sing?
Yes.
You know how happy we are all to hear that.
The part of the brain that I use to sing has never been affected. I could sing since I had the stroke. But
Yes.
I have trouble enunciating the words. Yeah. And I have to practice.
Yes. So for those that are like, oh, is the next gig next week? No, we're not there yet. But stay tuned to her social media. When she is ready,
Yes. Yeah.
you will know. You will
Yes.
all know. Those of you that keep wanting to book her, you will know, guys, when she's ready. Okay, let's go to the lines. Heather from Four Ways. Very quickly, go ahead.
Lira,
Yes.
I'm so happy you're alive, you're well.
Oh,
You are magnificent.
thank
I've been
you.
a fan of yours for forever.
Thank
I'm
you.
just so happy.
Thank you.
Heather, thank you so much for your call. And I think that is so appreciated. We have Lusanda in Tembisa. Hi, Lusanda.
Oh, hi, how are you?
How? She's
fine,
my friend.
I'm driving from work from Tembisa to home.
Oh, how are you?
Lusanda, how do you feel hearing your friend speaking on the radio, knowing her journey?
My friend rocks. I always tell her she rocks. You know, she is a queen of manifestations, that one. And she's a queen of, you know, even though sometimes when I don't feel good and everything, she's a phone call away and I say, life is showing me flames. No, she knows how to just put down the flame. She's such a queen of manifestations.
Oh, Lusanda, and I'm so glad. We're just losing you there, but I think what's so beautiful about you said is you are the queen of manifestations, and because you spoke it, the Grammy is coming.
Yeah,
that we all know. It's just a matter of when, and maybe God is like, I want you to give that Grammy speech you've been wanting to give. So just wait, Khanyani. Just wait a little bit. Lusanda, thank you so much for calling. Lulama from Winchester Hills.
Hello, ladies. Just wanted to say we thank God for the phenomenal progress that Lira has made on this journey with the stroke. And amen to that Grammy. It's on its way. And just one question, Lira, is what would you say has been the single most blessing that has come with the stroke? So my question is, what has been so far the upside of the stroke?
Oh. Yes. Life. Life and being able to live it, and the time I have just to enjoy life. I don't take anything for granted. And it's made me value life a bit more. And when you have stroke calms you from the stress of life. So when I'm stressed, I can't speak. So it is important for me to keep calm and peaceful.
So it was the big message which was saying to you, you need to slow down, and because you're not slowing down, even though you thought you were, this is the way it's got to happen.
Yes.
All right, I want to quickly go through so many messages that are coming through. All right, Relebogile, my wife and I have seen Lira live on 2 occasions, first in Pietermaritzburg, KZN, and secondly in the Vaal. What a talent. All the best to you, sis Lira. May you continue to get better and better.
Thank you.
Paula says, oh, Lira, how inspiring you are. Feeling quite emotional, and I don't even know you. Lovely to hear from Lira Relebogile. It's amazing to hear how brave and strong she was when she went through her ordeal. The fact that she went through all this alone. We have had many people, celebrities, who succumbed to their illness and were discovered days after they passed. God is great. Speedy recovery. Amen. Sharon. Another one says, Lira's so brave. I'm weeping at her courage. I wish her every success. Robert in Houghton. I am finished with tears listening to Lira's recount. I had an identical experience 7 months ago, although not a stroke, but autoimmune disease. I'm an avid runner, lost my speech and walking ability, and found the daily struggle to take one step most overwhelming. You are a hero, bar none. Lady Lira, in addition to your voice, your power as an artist has always been all things oral. Your words, your gorgeous smile, your immaculate, in inverted commas, coconut articulation among us fellow coconuts. God has such a big surprise for your life and the seasons ahead. We love you always. If people are going to say you're a coconut, you're like, no, I just haven't found a speech therapist in isiZulu and Sesotho. That's all. Nah, you have an excuse, Nasa. I don't speak Xhosa. I don't speak Xhosa. So before we wrap up, let's quickly play a voice note. I know we're running out of time. I'm so sorry.
Lira, it is amazing to hear your testimony and to hear your journey. I'm just so proud. I am so proud. It is a wonderful thing to hear, and to see the amount of progress that you have made is astonishing. Not many people are that lucky. Thank you, Lira.
Good afternoon, Relebogile. So sad to hear such a beautiful person, such a beautiful soul. I'm busy driving now, and I can feel I'm getting all choked up. And just amazed by her strength and her courage and her willingness to fight. I wish her all the best, and I wish she recovers 100% for being such a beautiful person. Thank you.
so many more of the messages on Twitter.
I'm crying. I swear I never cry.
So I have to just say before we let you go, I'm so happy you're alive. I'm so happy you're alive. And I'm so happy that I'm in your life. And thank you just for being an example that we cannot take a second for granted. Last week when I was unwell and I couldn't come to work, she said to me, my friend, sleep. Switch off your phone and just sleep. And you gave me the permission to just rest and take care of myself. This interview was supposed to be a week ago and I wasn't well. And you said, just rest. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love you.
We love you. We are so proud of you. And everybody should know Lira is open to speaking engagements and giving motivational speeches. Please head over to her social media. All the booking details are there. Shout out to Mom and Lisa and Trevor and everybody who supported you. I'm so sorry we're late.
702.
The upside of failure.
Sometimes failure is the foundation of greatest success stories.